Kali with Rabbi Gaffney. Today is Dalit Shvat, Tashin Samik Test, and the Parsha is Bo.
Okay, so we're turning to the beginning of this week's Parsha, Parsha Bo. And the Parsha opens with the instruction from Hashem to Moshe that he should go into Paroi. Vayomer Hashem el Moshe, Boi el Paroi, Ki ani hitbadati es liboi. I've made his heart heavy. V'es leiv avado, and also the heart of his servants. Laman shisi eisai ele bekirboi. In order they should place these signs and these miracles of mine in his midst. Bekirboi meaning in the midst of Parei, maybe in a general way the Taish is referring to the Mitzri. Ulaman saper bioznei vincho, uven vincho, eish asher salalti b'mitzrayim. In order that you should tell and give over the story in the ears of your son and your grandson. Well, that's a big discussion as to why it only mentioned 2 generations, not all the generations. But that's not our concern for the moment. In Pashtus it means to tell for all the generations to come. Eish asher hisalalti b'mitzrayim. Well, that's what I made fun, or I mocked, or I played games with the Mitzrayim. V'es eisai asher samti vom, and the miracles and signs which I placed in them. V'yidatem, and you should all know, well, Yidatem would seem to include everybody, both Moshe Aaron and Parei and the Mitzrayim. Ki ani Hashem, I am the Eibishter who has the name Yud Kei Vav Kei. And then we see that Moshe and Aaron came in and they were told by the Eibishter to warn Parei about the coming marker of the Arbe. What the Arbe means, the locusts. So Rashi says, Vayomer Hashem el Moshe boi al Parei. You must come into Parei. Says Rashi, v'hasrei boi, and you must warn him. Now the word hasra, lahasrei, a very exact word in Lashon Kodesh. Hasreis means to warn somebody who's about to do an avera, or a sin or a crime. Somebody who's about to do something evil, and you warn him that he shouldn't do it. And if he goes ahead and does it, then it's called that he's taken on himself the outcome. In other words, that if there'll be a punishment, that's clearly he's accepted on himself the punishment. And that's the word hasra in Lashon Kodesh. So the Rashi says that you must come into Parei, be hasrei boy, and you must warn him about what he's about to be shown another sign, and he's got to take the necessary learning from that as Penegel Apoyo, that he should send the Yidden out, and if he doesn't, then kach v'kach is going to be the outcome. In other words, he'll suffer from the Arbe. So we see that Rashi stresses at this particular point that the coming of Moshe to Parei, or Moshe Aaron to Parei, was to warn him in this way. It's almost like a halakhic type of warning. It's put down in the Gemara in the Mishnah and the Gemara in Sekta Machis in detail. The Inif and Hasra when you get to if somebody's about to do an avera and you warn him and you have aid him, then he can be shown chayav mizing. He can be held up in the bezdin for that avera. Well, that's the word hasra or hasreibo. So I saw the shadow. Why did Rashi wait at this late point, this is already the 7th of the Makis, I think, or the 8th of the Makis, to all of a sudden say here that the purpose of Moshe going into Pari was to warn him. I mean, look, he's done that all the way through. Why is there a special stress here at this particular point that the whole interview coming into Pari is to warn him? In other words, to halachically challenge him and say, listen here, man, if you go ahead with this, and kach v'kach is going to be there at a case, and Pari will be kilo, if we stand on all the dinim of Hasra, then if Pari kilos nonetheless goes ahead, then he'll be worthy of the uinesh, as you might call it, the punishment which comes as a result. So we see that's in effect what happened. Pari didn't take the necessary care, and he went ahead. So we got here all, as it were, the seeming makeup of the union of warning al pidin, as it should be, and therefore it's interesting at this late stage when we're almost finished all of the case. Here Rashi says Hasrei Bo, you should warn him. Look, that's been going on the whole time. Each makkah had its own hasra, even though there's differences. Some of them we don't find that Moshe Rabbeinu said openly to Pari that were going to happen, like the kinnim that we had last week in the Shia. I mean, there's different protei halachas in Yonim, the whole matter, but that's what it would appear. So that's one shaila. Then we go further, and he says, what is the reason why you should go in and warn Pari right now? Because I have made his heart heavy. Because I've made his heart hard. How do you got to have hardened his heart? And since that's the case, then you should warn him, and you should go in to see him and tell him what's going to happen. So immediately the intelligent reader is filled with a pele that if the Avish is going to make his heart hard anyway, and he said openly, I've already done it. I've already made his heart hard, meaning he's not going to really listen to you, and even if he might have wanted to, I'm not going to let him, as it were, because I'm hard. The Avish says that he's hardening his heart. So if the Avish is hardening his heart, then how's he going to listen? How's he going to take any care for the Asra? I mean, that's an open balbat shakasha. If you harden a person's heart, then you can't say to him, well, listen, how come you didn't listen to what I warned you? I mean, you hardened his heart that he shouldn't listen. And that's given as a reason why you should go and warn him, because I have hardened his heart. Doesn't seem to make any sense. And then he says, why am I telling you all this? Laman, because I want to put my miracles in his midst. It's got to do one with the other. No, the whole reason I'm telling you to do this rather almost ungraspable act, what sort of a connection does it have? Because I want to put my miracles in his midst. And in addition to that, I want that everybody should tell the story afterwards, and you should tell the story to your sons and to your grandsons, in other words, all the generations to come. But that derech agav has got to do with the Laila Seder and the Inyan B'klal of Chag HaPesach for Chulum. And then he said, what are you going to tell them? You're going to tell them that I played a game and I made a galesh, as they say in Yiddish. I made a joke and a tzchok out of Adamit. That's a bit peculiar. Why would Dave want everybody should know and all the journalists to come that he made fun, literally, of Dimitri? And he chazes over him, the Oyisisai, which I put into their midst, and then everybody will come to know Ki Aniha Hashem, including the Dimitrim, including Pari and Dimitrim. Also, the Shiloh, what's the world going to earn by everybody knowing that the Avish is Yud K Vav K? I am the Avish. I mean, we know that Pari at the beginning said he didn't believe in Yud K Vov K, he only knew the Eibishter as the Shem Elokim. That's what Parai said right back in Pasha Shmois. Right at the beginning of the Sefer, he says, Loi, Yodaiti es Hashem. I didn't know Hashem. V'gam Loi Eshma B'koile. I mean, he really was tremendously, definitely chutzpah, Parai, to that first warning of Moshe Rabbeinu when he spoke in the name of the Shema Havaya. Now all of a sudden said the Eivish, oh yes, now he's gonna know the Shem Havaya. Even though in last week's Pasha at the end, he already said the Shem Havaya Parai, and he said, you and your Eivish, Yud Kei Vav Kei, you are the ones who are right, and my people are wrong and bad, therefore take this away from me. That's not yet knowledge. That's not. He just admitted, according to what you're saying, that I'm prepared to admit that we're in the wrong. Oh, but that was obviously only to get rid of the macher, because immediately afterwards he went back and he did Hafuk Mizeh. This time he's going to come to know B'Yadir Brura Ke'aniha Hashem. So the Shaila, what's that? What's it now? The Yidden and Parai and everybody's going to come to a new knowledge v'yadatim ki ani Hashem. Davke the Eivish, how he is in the Shem Havaya Yud Kei Vav Kei. So in order to understand all that, we have to understand first of all the basic shaila that Moshe Rabbeinu was told, you have to come into Parai and warn him, etc., because I have made his heart hard. Or had it got, I've made it heavy. I've turned it into it's put down in the Medrash, the Lashon Koved, the liver. Had it got the liver? He turned his heart into liver. So the Medrash says that the liver is all blood, but if you heat it in fire, what you guys have been learning, we probably learned kasha about liver is that you heat it in fire. But then the liver goes hard, like in the middle it starts to go very hard from the soft texture of blood that it has. So the Medrash Rabbah says that was Parai, that literally the Eivish burnt him in the fire like a piece of liver. He gave out a lot of blood, but he also started going congealed and hard. The more he copped it, the more he seemed to get hard and obstinate. Anyway, that's just by the way. So he said, Ani Ichbadati. Well, I mean, it's got to do with it, in a way. Ani Ichbadati is slave Paroi. Yeah, and then all these things are going to result, and we see he got this terrible makkah, and then he got other makkahs, and then the makkahs are bechayri. So how can you punish somebody, how can you give him makkahs if you took away his ability to affect himself? If you say that you have made his heart hard, then what do you want of him? I mean, he's completely in your hands, and you've hardened his heart. He's not going to pay attention or listen or who knows what. He's absolute clay in your hands. He has no, what would you call it? Bechira Choshiyah. He doesn't have any free choice anymore. So you might say, well, we'll get back to that. Maybe we said Goyim Bechira Choshiyah. We're going to have to deal with that in a few minutes. But suffice it to say that you took away any, what you might call, human capacity to rectify his deeds or in any way control what he's doing. So in Cain, wasn't the whole reason that you're going to bring him in another ois and another ois, you're going to punish him with this and clap him with this. He's no longer a Levitic factor in the matter. He has no choice. He has no way. So you might say, well, maybe he could do tshuva. So if you don't have any choice, you can't do tshuva either. We'll see in the Rambam in a minute. The Rambam links the whole concept of choice and tshuva together. Because what is tshuva? When somebody does tshuva, he decides that what he's been doing up to now is absolutely out, absolutely unacceptable, and he makes a choice in life that he's going to leave that and go to he's going to leave that way and go to a better way, a more acceptable way, and ultimately to cleave himself to Hashem and not to all the evil of the world. If he doesn't have any choice, and you're holding his heart in your hand like a piece of liver, then he can't really do tshuva either. So it doesn't make any sense to say, well, maybe he might do tshuva. And if that's the case, then what the heck do you want to parry? I mean, he's just a punch and Judy. He's like a little doll in the hands of the Eibishter. If he's just going to move, however we move him, what do you want of him? So we see that if we go back into last week's parsha, what no doubt, hopefully, I remember a little bit from week to week what you learn. In last week's parsha, Va'iro, quite near the beginning, the Eibishter says over there, you must go to Paro, and I'm going to take the Yidden out of Egypt. And then the Eibishter says to Moshe, Vani achshe es leiv Paroi. I will make leiv Paroi hard. I'll harden his heart, and he won't want to send you, and I will be marred with my miracles in Mitzrayim. That's what the Eibishter says. I'll make many miracles amongst the Mitzrayim. So we've already been told right from the very beginning that David is going to make Paro's heart hard. If I was asked himself the question, what's the point of all these Esamachim? I mean, the guy was anyway, he was right from the beginning a write-off. I mean, David is going to make his heart hard. If he's got a hardened heart and he can't do anything, what you will for them? They say, tell me, man. So over there in Parsha Va'era, you guys remember your Chittas? At least I hope you do. Rashi came along over there, and Rashi dealt with that question. And Rashi said over there that if he asked that basic question, if you're going to harden his heart, then what is he shulik pare? So Rashi said that he makes a difference between the first 5 makis and the last 5. He divides them into 2 halves, Rashi. And he said the first 5 makis, it's written that Pari hardened his heart, or to stomach he got more obstinate as he went along. Vayechazach es liboy, or Vayachbeid Pari es liboy, or Vayachbeid leiv Paroi. But it's not written Hashem did it. Not written Hashem did it. So therefore, Rashi says that the Eibishter gave him 5 hands, 5 chances, one after the other, to chop what was going on with himself. After that, says Rashi, he saw that it's not going to help. Maybe he'll do tshuva, still. So Rashi says over there an amazing thing. But I mean, we once gave a shukla of them, Rashi, but I'll just refer to it very briefly. Rashi says that the Eibishter saw she'ein nachas ruach umas ha'olam loshu b'tshuva. That there's no nachas ruach, there's no hope, there's no favor that the Eibishter has for the goyim to believe in them that they'll do tshuva. Once again, the question, why did you wait so long? If you're not going to do any tshuva, give it right from the beginning. Anyway, the Eibishter waited 5 times, and then, since the Eibishter is convinced that he's not going to do tshuva, now I'm going to harden his heart anyway. I'll just harden his heart, that he won't have any choice or anything the matter. So Rashi says, okay, what's going to be now? So he says, Rashi, in order to make many of my miracles in the eyes of the Mitzrayim, and maybe if you look carefully, maybe in the eyes of the world. So Lefi Rashi comes to us that we gave Pari a chance, we waited to see what was going to happen, and after so many times, he kept knocking back, and that's what Rashi, look carefully, you'll see as Rashi, he gave him warnings, and he kept sort of dismissing the warnings, and not only dismissed the warnings, but Beklal, there's not a great deal to hope from the Goyim anyway, Beneged to Tshuvaton. That's a very interesting why Rashi need to put that in. I mean, what does it help his basic argument? Obviously there's some big remez that Rashi's making with that. Oh, anyhow, Ein Kanamachim Laharim was there at this particular moment. Suffice it to say that there was all good reason that it looked like a fafalna business with this Pari. Already 5 times he's refused to listen, and anyway, not really much to wait for from these going that are going to do tshuva. Here we go, and we're going to harden his heart. So I says, What do you want of him? Oh no, we don't want anything from him anymore. Just the fact that he'll be like a puppet in the hands of Hashem, or Hashem will be able to make miracles through him. And since he's the king of what at that time it was the king of a larger part of the whole world. I mean, Mitzrayim was the Moishel Bekippah, says the Medrash. That Pari was the ruler at the top of the head, like the kippah at the top of the world. At the far, from now on, we're going to use Pari as a medium of showing who really runs the world. We're going to show Oisis and Moifsim Hutz Midache Hateva Lagamre, because this Arbe was already an amazing thing. Like Rashi brings in the Pasuk, that there's never been and never will be as Amin Sot Marcus Arbe or insects as that. Rashi brings down that it wasn't the time of Yoel, and maybe it's much more that the one in Yoel was as big, but it wasn't quite a whole big discussion in the Rishonim about that. These are markers which really go out of Derech HaTeva Lagamri from now on. So Rashi says over there that was the purpose, to use Pari like a puppet and like an indicator that the world will take interest. What's happening with this big Mitzrayim? They're all going crackers over there. And their king seems to be completely in a tremendous mess with all these Makkis. And they're going to see, oh, this is our Inyan from Lamayla Miha. There must be some Inyan of the Eivishter that runs the world. And it will be, how do you call it, what you might say, to use the Lashon of Chatzidus, Megala Elakus Poilam. It'll be Megala Elakus in the world. Rashi says that after a certain point, Pari didn't have any choice in the matter. He became just a puppet in the hands of Hashem. In other words, that after having knocked back 5 times, the coming 5 times, it's written, says Rashi, that the Eibusha was in charge from now on. Hichbid Hashem is lei paroi, Yechazech Hashem is lei paroi. The only thing is, if you happen to be an intelligent observer, and a careful reader, then you'll say, well, at the end of the Makkos Borad, it's not written clearly that Hashem hardened his heart. And that was already one of the 5 last ones. So I see you guys don't really remember your Pesukim all that clearly. Rashi doesn't go into that, Shaila. But it's written twice over there, Vayachazek, as Hashem, it's written Vayachbeid, Leiv Paroi Yachazach Leiv Paroi. So some of the great Mephoshim say it was written twice. Once for Hashem and once him. Anyway, that's a big discussion. Saying I want him to get involved. Hashem also had his heart over there by the Borad. It's okay. So 5 times, he was on his own Pari. 5 times now he's completely in the hands of Hashem. So comes along over there, the Ramban, in that place over there where Rashi, and he says a very similar thing here on the Pasuk V'Yichbadati Esli Boy, and says the Ramban, wait a minute, what do you want from this guy? You want to use him as a way of revealing Hashem in the world, revealing L'mayla Mi'ateva in the world. You want to make him into like a sort of a helpless puppet. But in the meantime, you're hitting him and he's suffering. What is he showing? You can say that up till now he didn't listen to you 5 times over, so maybe we should be punishing him for that. But from now on further, why should we punish him? Mishulma? You want to use him for a medium for Gilel Akus? Okay, use him for some sort of medium for revealing miracles. Or why do you have to clap him? What is he? So really terribly to blame. Says the Ramban that there are 2 inyonim here. One is that up to now he didn't listen, did he? 5 times he denied the whole thing, even though he heard clearly and he was warned. He heard clearly and he was warned. So says the Ramban, he has to get punished for that. And therefore, there's a inyan in the Makkis that they're a punishment to Pari in the last 5 Makkis, but there's also an inyan that they're Gilel Akus Bo Oilam. And they're like Mepharsim to the whole world, great things about Hashem's running the universe. And if that's what he had to suffer, or that's the part of it that he was to blame, because he didn't listen to the first 5 makkos, and therefore he has to cop it. So that's what he's suffering. He's suffering from what you call, how do you call it, in retrospect. Or that what he's being made a vehicle for Gilel Akut, that's another thing. And so they both come together, and therefore the Ramban says that there are 2 ta'amim, or 2 reasons in the last 5 makkos, and those are the 2 inyanim. What's the feature there? The Ramban divides the makkos, and so does Rashi for all that purpose. Just that Rashi doesn't say it as openly as all that. The Ramban says that like there are 2 sets of makkos. One set of makkos, which partly was Takir sinning the whole time, and to a certain extent he was being punished kidei maisa for them. But now, he's kept not listening, palm achari palm. For them, we have to give him a major punishment. And so therefore we give him a punishment in the hemshech of the makkos. But there's another aspect to them, what they tell the Eibishter, and that's an interesting thing, because the great Meforshim deal with the question, what was the purpose of the makkos? What do we really have for makkos? Of course, you want to take the Yidden out of Mitzrayim, take him out. You want to punish Pari, punish him. Slip him down these stairs and he'll break his head or something. Where's your wilster for them as if you makkos? So therefore there's a big discussion in the great Meforshim, what's the purpose of all these 10 makkos? And therefore some say that they were a punishment. Some say that they were just a way of being Megala that the Eibusha runs the world, and it takes time until Goyim wake up what's really happening with them. And we have to chazar over time after time. But that's not bad, is it? Because we see nowadays in the world just how much you have to chazar over one thing, palm achrei palm. I feel a mikzah should get into somebody's head. Well, I thought somebody would have said, here, how do they say in the House of Commons or something, $1 billion, and when there's a slight agreement, somebody says here, but nobody says anything over here. Anyway, to go further, so what's the purpose of the makkos? So, they say that the purpose of the makkos was Gilel Akut. Some say no, the purpose of the makkos was to punish the evil. To punish the Mitzrayim, to punish evil. Some say it was to make the Mitzrayim do tshuva. They should do tshuva. Rashi already says that's not a very hopeful one. Rashi disagrees with it. He says there's not really a great deal of hope that they'll do tshuva. The Saporno, he says that the Eibishter kept going the whole time right up to Makkos. He's waiting for the Mitzrayim to do tshuva. That itself is a very interesting idea. So comes along the Ramban, and the Ramban says, oh no, there's 2 different sets of makkos. One is Ein Lachanamim. Up to now, the Ikir time for that is punishment, and after that it's purely Gilel Akut. So we see that the Ramban, Kedachi B'Kodesh, takes in different aspects and sums up different yonim. And then he brings a pasuk right at the end of the Ramban, a very famous one. A lot of people quote it. And we should quote it nowadays, particularly that there's this amazing Avodah Zarah that's going around the world. The new American president, everybody's going out of their kelim. I heard that there was even some Rabbonim went into a Beis HaTzlomim. They went into a Chmanim clan to on one of his big initiation ceremonies or something. He was so anxious to go in, and he's having a ceremony. They had to appear in a Beis Avodah Zarah in order that he should be pleased and everything. Kaf Shemayt. They even asked him afterwards, how come you did such a thing? And they said, it does. Tirutzim. It's a new Avodah Zarah in the world. The American president, everybody's going out of the kelim. So, bring the Ramban a pasuk. The Ramban brings a pasuk where it's written in chapter 21 of Mishlei. It's written over there that Leiv Hamelech b'yad Hashem, that the heart of the king is in the hands of the Eibishter. L'chol asher yakpoitz Yatenu. To everything that he wants, the Eibishter, he can literally dray it. How do you call it? He can make the heart of the Shem, the heart of the king, dray. In other words, that a king is in the hands of the Eibishter. And whatever way the Eibishter wants, he drays him. And that's what he said. That's what happened with Parai, that he was at Leiv Hamelech Biyad Hashem, and whatever the Eibishter wanted, he did with him. So I thought the question, it'll say, no, you don't have any kindness to anybody. I mean, if the hearts of kings are purely in the hands of the Eibishter, and the Eibishter drays them up, drays them around, then what can we have any kindness to anybody? Even to us, I mean, Peronmas, even the American president, what kind of stuff? Kindness to him. At a fair, we have to understand that the Ramban means that that's not just absolutely the case, that the lave of the kings in the hands of the Eibishter. Now we have to say, like we saw here, like the Ramban himself learns, that there is a certain place where the Eibishter gives into the king, and he gives into him a knowledge of what he should do, and it's clear to the king of what are the really correct issues. At least b'chadreicha dorim, at least in the room, inside the room, when he's saying his little, I don't know if a guy says any Krishma, Alamita, what he does there, but anyway, when he's sort of, summing up the day, or who knows what he's doing deep inside his room, then he knows what is in effect, he knows what is the emet. And the Eibishter Timarayim does. And if the Eibishter sees that he wants to take that into account, and he wants to go that way, and he wants Taka to live that way, so then the Eibishter backs him up and makes him a successful king, and gives him all of the inyanim of a king. However, if he sees that he doesn't want to go that way, and he doesn't take the musa and the knowledge that the Eibishter put into his mind right at the beginning, then ain't nothing the Eibishter plays with it. The Eibishter moves him around here, and moves him around there, and really he's no longer in his own reshus anymore. That can't do status in the Ralbag. There's a very famous derision of Rabbeinu Levi ben Gershon as up to Zabir in that pasuk in Mishlei. That's what the Ramban means. That there is some sort of a good in it, even in a Goyish king. There's some sort of good in him, and that good is so powerful that it can even bring him some way or another to have control over his own destiny. Dainu, he can choose. He can mamish choose what he should do. But if he doesn't choose, and he just obstinately says he's going to run the show, he's the king, then the Eibishter will eventually drain him around as if he a puppet. Pink to say it's with power. Kach tzarich lomar shedoes a debut in the Divrei Pasuk in Mishlei and the Ralbag and some of the other great Meforshim over there. So it comes along the Rambam now, and the Rambam tells us an amazing klal. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but this is a very famous Rambam in Hilchos Tshuva, at the beginning of the 5th perek. Now it's interesting that the Rambam includes this whole inyan in Hilchos Tshuva. This is part of Hilchos Tshuva. Like I said before, that you can't really have Tshuva if you don't have this inyan we're going to say here. It comes along the Rambam and he says that it's a reshus kol adam nasun aloi, that every man has got reshus. Now the word reshus means like control or permission almost. Each one has got the Alter Rebbe. If you look in where the Alter Rebbe in Yudalit, where the Alter Rebbe says that a man's got control over his own life, he can go whichever way he wants. Over there, the Alter Rebbe also uses the Harushus Nasuna L'Kol Adam. The Alter Rebbe uses the same lashon, and it's a quote from the Rambam that he's got literally the power or the rulership, or the you might call it permission, power over himself. Im Ratzah Lahati Satzme L'Terab Toiva L'Yesh Tadik Arashus Biel, you want to go in a good way and be a tzaddik, then the Rashus, he's got the power and the rulership to do so. Im Rotza Lahati Satzmin L'Derech Ra, Uliya is Rosha, Arashus Biel. In other words, the Rambam says there's no such thing as good or evil in the world, only through choice, by people. Yeah? Only through choice. If you're good, it's a sign that you decided to be good. If you're ra, it's a sign you chose to be ra. It's up to you. It's a reshus. And the word reshus means permission. It's up to you entirely. The Eibush leaves that to you. The Rambam says, how do we know that? And he brings a pasuk. V'husha kasuv b'toiro, hein ha'odom hoyo ke'echad mimenu lodos toiv vora. Now this is the most amazing thing with all of the great Mephoshim, their eyes somewhat jolt out of their heads depending on how much their bali is pilot. When the Rambam brings this pasuk, that's what's written in the Torah after the Chet Eitz Hadas. And they say, the man's going to eat from the tree of Das. So the Eibush says, the Eibush says, now the man's going to be like one of us, meaning he's going to be like the divine. Why? Because Lodas Teva Ra, he now knows the difference in the nafkamina between Tev and Ra, between good and evil. And since he's like one of us, doesn't he's good? Pen Yishlach Yodeh, and he'll live forever. But we can't trust him like I can trust myself. Says the Eibush. Who knows what's like it happen? But the Ramban says that the Rambam teaches the most amazing teach. The Alidei, what he knows the difference between Toiv and Ra, and he's got the ability to choose Toiv and Ra, then he's picked to say with the Eibush. The Eibush says, V'hoyo Adam ke'echad mimenu, from us, meaning he's picked to say with the divine. That's amazing. In other words, the fact that he can choose between Toiv lo Ra, that makes him picked to say with the Eibush. And since that's the case, therefore the Eibush got very concerned, very worried. And he said, "Oh, Gaval, if this is the case, didn't it?" And he said, if this is the case, then man's going to completely blow the whole universe. He's like higher. This conduct the time. Nimto, that the inner for Bechira is a tremendously, the Rambam learns an amazing beer. What is it teaches? You got Bechira, a divine thing which compares you mamish to the Eibush. And then he goes on to say, the Rambam whole Arich is that there's nothing can stop you to Toiv or Ra. That's entirely up to you. And he goes on with the whole reason. It's got nothing to do with the Eibush. It's all yours. And then he said, it follows that if a man gets into trouble because of his chatoim, then it's purely his problem. In other words, there's nobody else to blame except himself. And he brings that pasuk. I told last week we spoke about, the week before, the pasuk in Yirmiyahu Navi, where he says that from the Eibush's mouth there doesn't go out toiva or ra v'toiv. Doesn't go out such a thing. Ra v'toiv is dependent entirely on you. You have the choice, and you're the one who botches it. And if you botched it, then you yourself made yourself chap the ra. But not from the Eibush. Because it's all dependent in your reshus. You've got this amazing power in your hand. It's mind-boggling. It's not just the Rambam comes along and says you got choice man. When Mom makes it into a zamin sot inya, is the pele. And then says the Rambam, he goes on to say, ve'ika ze ika godelu. He said, this is how do you call it, an essential principle, the omud ha-Torah v'ha-mitzvah. It's the pillar of all the Torah and the mitzvahs, that a mensch, right, has got the ability to choose between Yeshenema, Reyei nosati lefanecha hayem zachayim yedjemi esamaya. See, Re'ei anochi noisen lifneichem hayom. Klolu, brachas lo, we see over there in Parsha Re'ei. In the Torah dot. And I remember an amazing thing, that's the basis of all Torah. And that's part of Hilchos Teshiva. That's part of Tshuva. And it comes on the Rambam in the next chapter, and he gets onto our problem. And he says, since that's the case, that everybody has the right and the ability to absolutely control their own spiritual and their own physical destiny, it's all dependent in them, absolutely. And he goes on to say, well, that's what happened with the union for Paroi. What is the union for this Paroi? And he says, Ve'efshe sheyechta ha'odam chet godel, oy chato im harbe, ad sheyiten adin, lifnei itayan o emes, sheyeh ha'pirorim mizeh ha'choite, she'osu b'retzoino yemitaitoi, she'moinim mimenu es ha'tshuva. Says the Rambam, could be a case where a man did a very terrible sin, or he did a lot of sins, one after the other, and he didn't cut what was going on with himself. So then the Eibishter, who's called the Dayan Haemes, are you doing a drawing over there, man? I'm going to send you out. I doubt if I'll let you back in. So either decide where you're holding in the world, okay? You think that I come down here after all the work and time I put into this place, and I come down to you to sit with your meshug in a cup and draw a drawing? Are you normal? Really? That he can do a zamitzot aveda, and a zamitzot inyan, that can take away the right for him to have the ability to do tshuva. And the Eibush will take away from him legamre the yichilus to do tshuva. And he said that's what happened with Paroi. That since Paroi sinned so many times, the Eibush took away from him the bechira. Because tshuva and bechira are the same in it. Hilchos tshuva. Bechira is the basis of tshuva. So you see, why did Paroi not do tshuva in the end? Because the Eibush didn't let him. The Eibush took her away. I said, why didn't he do it right from the beginning? Because he gave him a lot of chances. Chatoim harbe. He did a lot of sins until the Eibush said, okay, from now on, we took it away from you altogether. And that's an amazing thing. And then he goes on, the Rambam, and he brings a riot to that from another place. And he brings a riot from right over near there, and the pasuk is so amazing, and it's so shy to what's going on today. I just have to read you the pasuk. It's absolutely mind-boggling. The Rambam brings a pasuk just before the destruction of the first Beis Hamikdash. So I thought I was going to say this mind-boggling that everybody would show a bit of interest. Everybody would sit looking and say, I was talking about yesterday's newspaper. And he says that what was going on, that the Yidden weren't behaving properly with the Beis Hamikdash, but this before the destruction of the first temple. So he says, "Vayishlach Hashem Elokei Aviseichem, b'yad Malochov, in the hands of his angels, Hashkeim v'sholoyach, day after day, getting up early, and day after day, Hashkeim v'sholoyach, he sent them his angels, Ki chom al Hashem el Amoy, David had Rachmanis on the Yidden, V'al Ma'oinoi means the Beis Hamikdash. Now, coming along Rashi and the other great Mephoshim, they say, who are Malachov? I mean, we don't recognize the angel. Who knows anything about angel? If I tell you that story, then we'll never get anywhere with this club. You know the famous comparison of Friedrich Rebbe, how he compared what we know about angels. Anyway, what he meant to say was we don't know anything about angels. So what is written in the pasuk that these David sent these angels the whole time, Hashkeim verse, getting up and coming the whole time. So Rashi says, and also it appears from the Hemshech of the Pasik, that means, the Eivish is Shluchim, a Malach is a Fliach in Lashon Kodesh, or that means, how do you call it, the Tzadikim. It means how do you call it, Nevi'im and the Tzadikim. And they're the Malachim. And the Eivish, the whole, the ganze Zeit, he's sending to the Nevi'im, Hashkei v'Sholeach, day after day, more early on. Yeah, they keep coming at you and telling you, what did you do? What did you guys do? Instead of listening to them and saying, Kaval, the Novi's shrieking at me day after day. And maybe he's got a point. Maybe we should at least listen or do something or be misboinen or something. He said, Vayu ma'alivim b'malach ha'yolekim. He said, the trouble was that you guys, they could and he could scorn the Malachi Elokim. Uboizim dvorav, he used to make fun out of their words. Umitataim b'naviyai, he used to even, he could scorn the Nevi'im themselves, not just the word of Hashem. They used to make fun out of the actual Nevi'im. Ad alois chamas Hashem, until the Eivish became so upset and so angry, ad li'ein marpei, until there's no refuah. Ad li'ein marpei, there's no way of healing it. That's just a stark event. So the Rambam teaches, what does it mean? Ad li'ein marpei, what is the refuah for everything? That I make chapter, and he does sure. You know the famous Masha, if I tell you all the Masas. You know the famous Masha with the Alter Rebbe, with the guy that he did sure. Where's the Masha? That's Yichap. The Alter Rebbe said, oh, it's my chapter. And the Alter Rebbe sang it in a niggin. He said, oh, you have to chap yourself. Where's the Masha? No. Anyway, the guy heard that. The Alter Rebbe said to him with a niggin that you have to chap yourself. Yeah. And then he chapped himself and he did too. He fell on the floor and he fainted. Guys don't know from the guns of Mars. Anyway, the Indian for tshuva is to wake up, to chap yourself, and then you got to faint or something. Something's got to happen. I mean, I wish everybody should chap himself, gesundheit and freilige heid. You don't have to faint, but that has to be something. So therefore, that's called marpei. That's called healing. So he says that if you just keep laughing at the Nevi'im and scoffing their words, then the Eivishter turns you into a zamatzer that ain't marpei. But teach the Rambam, what does it mean? Ain't marpei. Yeah. Ad she'nishchayvu limnoya meihem atshuva shehu amarpei. In other words, the ever healing factor in life is tshuva. The Eivishter will take away your b'chirim, and I won't be able to do tshuva, and that's what happened to these peoples. The fire never went into college with the constant destruction of the base of Mikdash, what happened over there at that time. So we see that the whole idea was that the Eivish had Rachmanis, Chamal Alami, had Rachmanis on his people and on his base of Mikdash. And what did he do? He sent Nevi'im, Hashkeim, so at the whole time, hacking at the Tzadikim and Nevi'im and saying to them, listen, guys, clap yourself. What's going on? Nothing. You guys, that's what you want. Ain't marpei. No more tshuva, no more bechira. You guys are just puppets in the hands of the Eivish to become so once again, anyway, whatever. So we see from that, look at what's been happening the whole last 40 years or 50 years. It's Yud Shvat coming up. Since Yud Shvat Tovshin Yud, and even before, the Eivish has been sending a Novi, but he's been shrieking and begging and clogging and warning to his people. Hash came v'shoylea. And the Rebbe said that about all the other Rebbeim in the famous Sikh of it. By Pasha Shaitim, Toshin Nun Aleph, when the Rebbe spoke about Nevuah, he said the same thing, that the Frierdiker Rebbe was a Novi, and that the Rebbe Rashab was a Novi, and the Rebbe reckoned out all the Rebbeim, and he said the Eivish was Hashkeim v'Sholeach, the Eivish was sent, And everybody says, oh, yours, Lubavitcher, I don't have to listen to all Lubavitcher, I'm a Quetschmitcher, weißt du, I'm Lubavitcher. There's another one says, I'm a Litvach, I'm a Schnagel, I'm a Hin, I'm a Herr, I'm a Chanich from a Yeshiva, we do it. I don't know why I've heard the Lubavitcher. And Allah is coming, the Tzionim, Rachmanim, and Flam. As they go in the room and giving away the whole Eretz HaKodesh to Goyim, Kipshutei Mami. And everybody's walking around chuching and saying, oh, yo, look at this Natan, yo, he's such a wonderful man. Everybody knows what he's going to do. He's going to do it even quicker than Barak and all the other Shmendikas. He'll do it much quicker than that. Because he's got a big mouth. It's well known that will show him that a big mouth is very bad. Shalom was exactly the same part. It's like. In fact, the Rebbe says Hash came for Sholeach the whole time. They've just said Nevi'im. What happened? Oh, as we know what we're doing, we are saying we are this, we are going somewhere, we are this, we got a Medina, we got to do this, we got something else. Forget about the Lubavitcher, forget about the Nevi'im, it'll be too late at a certain point. There won't be any more Marpei. There has to be somebody that chaps it by the seichel. So that's why the Eivishter, Barachim Avam Marubim, he gave a little group of people called the Lubavitchers. But they still got, or they're supposed to have, a bit of seichel. And zwischen the Lubavitchers, a lot of them are already losing their seichel. I can't help it. So they have to give more tamas and say, they do it, we have to reckon with the forces of the Pandit, and we do it, you can't have everything this well, there's a few Mishagoyim, but they still believe that the Rambam's got a point. They come and say, no, we have to listen to the words of the Rebbe, we have to listen to the words of the Novi, we have to do it, we've got to know, it shouldn't be Chas v'Sholem, Ein Ma Pri. That's unbelievable, the Rambam. I mean, he's just, now you see why the Rebbe holds from the by the Alter Rebbe. The Alter Rebbe wrote all his works according to the, the way the Rambam did it, The Alter Rebbe held from the Rambam, unbelievable. Erefa, to is that a mensch can be in a zamitzot matzav that he's lost his ability to control his own life. We've seen at Korean, the age that took away from Pari is the whole dignity of a human being, which is to chap and all the things and make things better, changes them. And Pari was supposed to be a big man, and he lost the whole thing. Says the Ramban and Rashi, what happened to him? He became a puppet in the hands. A Drey, well, through him the Eivsher would be able to show that real Baal Boss of the world is Yud Kei Bo, Kei L'mayla Mi'ateva. Absolutely chutz midach Ateva. And the Eivsher runs the world every minute. Well, we spoke in last week's Shekloib and again to the whole Inim, at a Brias Ha'olam b'chol Rega Ver. Lefise, kommt that Pari lost his whole Yerbachir. And the Eivishter used him as a medium, and according to the Ramban, it was eager to be Megala Elikus in the world. And what sort of Elikus? Yud Kei Vav Kei, to be Megala, that the whole world is exactly the opposite of Paris. It's the whole world exactly opposite of the American president. The whole world is the exact opposite of the whole Union. No, the whole world is run by Yud Kei Vav Kei, which means that is L'mayla Mi Hateva. And all you got to do is just what you have got to make a little bit of a move in the matter. Dahainu, your choice. So you might say, me? How can I possibly choose? Who am I? I can possibly choose. I was a little I want to eat, I eat. I want to drink, I have to drink. I want to schlaf, I schlaf. I'm just in the hands of all these natural forces. You want to tell me that I can choose something? Halavai. I'll be able to get my alarm clock to wake me up when I'm supposed to, etc. And Halavai and Shabbos Mavochim, I'd say 2 kapitel Tilim with a kavanah or something. Halavai, that's what good given. You want to tell me that I've got a choice, I can really change my whole destiny, I can change the world's destiny, I can be a ganzer and bring him up from Mashiach, change the world. Yes! So how do we know? Wir so weiß mir von dem. Kommt sie gehen, die alte Rebbe in Lekutei Torah. In Lekutei Torah, Mann. Chassidut. And the alte Rebbe in Lekutei Torah, Pasha Emoyer, well, the alte Rebbe brings her up that Rambam. That the Rambam says, well, Hoya Odom Keachad Bimeno, like through Tshuva, he's much like the Hebrew. So the Alter Rebbe is wishing was a time. So the Alter Rebbe over there, an amazing thing. And we were talking about this in the other night in our Shira, I think in some, I forget how we got onto it. But in Olam HaTikun, Tafki in Olam HaTzilus, Alideh, this is colorless, pain us feel. We spoke about this colorless of the spirit. Maybe it was with somebody else I was talking. I can't remember who it was now. We do speak about it in the Shira, about this colorless of the spirit. And the spirits all get together and they all unite and they all interact, one with the other. And Alideh is there, they form a certain perfection together. You know, they're all united and receiving one from the other. Then there comes a new Gilui altogether. Atzmusay say, the Eibishter Mamish Batzmusay, he comes and he dwells in the spirit. And that's a whole new Gilui altogether. And that's the Indian of Matan Torah, etc. He explains over there. Sagt the Alter Rebbe that the mensch, a Yid is also like that. A Yid's got a nefesh elokis. And Alideh, what is nefesh elokis is po'er a little bit in his nefesh abamiyat, and he makes a bit of a seder in his life. So then the Eibishter comes down, Mamish, the Eibishter Kamoishahu, comes down and dwells in his being, dwells in his existence. And he said that's what gives him bechira. And he said, ain't no chanami, if you don't have a nefesh elokis, you don't really have bechira, amitiyas. He was going to say that maybe you do have some sort of bechira, but not bechira amitiyas. How do you get a bechira amitiyas? That the Eibishter comes and dwells in the little bit of seder that you make in your life. Think to see he dwells in the Olam HaTzilus L'mayla, where all the spheres find the way to do it, and they all unite together and they all interact. The Eibishter comes and dwells. To say he dwells in Olam HaTzilus, and the only one who really has free choice is the Eibishter. As is at the Alter Rebbe, it's not shayach that any other being could have free choice. Everything's demanded by itself. You know, it's all commanded. Everything we do is controlled by something else. Yeah, I'm thirsty. I have to drink. I have to make a bechira. I'm going to drink. I didn't have any moisture in my system. Everything demands. Ad kedi kach, the Ebenezer. Over there in the Pasuk in Va'era, Ani Akshes Lei Farad, the Ebenezer, he says it wasn't touch Bechira, wasn't this touch that a mensch has Bechira. He said everything is all fixed by all the Klale Habliya and everything runs according to all the different rules of nature. He said a mensch is just a whole combination of different rules of nature. In other words, you think you're so great, you know, you're walking around and say, oh, here I am, my name is Pliny Ben Pliny, and I am this. Says the Ebenezer, you're just a whole combination of different natural laws. And all just drain you around. Like and that's what makes you the way you are. So says the Ebenezer, says, what is a mensch? She said, Mahu. So he says that the mensch is here, and that the mensch has an ability to draw on a koyach elyon. That's the Rosh Mamish at the Ebenezer. He has the ability to draw on a koyach elyon. Now that's Mamish the Alter Rebbe, doesn't the Alter Rebbe? He has the power to draw on a koyach elyon. But for them, he's got to have a certain little effort in his own part to show that he would like to how do you call it, save the situation and do something. He said, if the mensch just does that, a feeling bemitta, then the Eibishter gives him a koyach elyon, and he can rule over the whole bria. Amazing statement. And the Ibn Ezra goes all the way with the naturalists and with the scientists, with the physicists and with the doers, and he says, I mentioned Mamish Corner, he's just a combination of natural force. Oh no, he's not. He said the amazing thing is that the Eibishter gave him a little ability to over himself slightly. If it was left up to him, he wouldn't do very much. But he just shows that he would like to be a bit boing. There's this big koyach elyon comes down from heaven and helps him out. I stated the Ibn Ezra. Tell you the Gizah. And the way that you get that ability to choose is only if you show you would like to do something, you would like to be somehow or another in control, even without saying what the details are. And then the Eibishter will show you the way. I stated the Ibn Ezra. That if a person loses that, if that is taken away from him, then he's mamish gone. He's mamish gone. Thanks. Did you try and calm him down a bit? Bechira im Kain is a tremendously elevated, mystifying power that's put only in the mensch. And according to the way the Rambam shapes it out, it would appear that maybe it's only shaped by Yidden and not by the Goyim. Oh, but you can't very well say that, because immediately by Emshator he says, he brings the story with Parah, and he said the Parah is a whole dugma of how you should use your Bechira, but it was taken away from you. In a Chassidut, the Parah must have also had Bechira. How does Parah have Bechira? Parah is just a goy. Yeah, Leiv Malachim B'Yad Hashem would fit somebody like him. They was just praise him around. It was tight. And what is it the whole time? 5 makas he did have a chance. And the other 5 makas he already didn't, and then do it. Who's Parah after all? He's just, old, how to call it, an old Dreya, amongst the goyim. Who's he? From that we see that there's some sort of story here with the Ina from Bechira that seems to be hidden in the very essence of the Bria, that there is a certain inyan of Bechira. Once again, the Rebbe Rashab in a famous Maimon in Tofrei Summer, we learned it once but I think it was years ago, I don't know if anybody here would, Rosh Hashanah Tofrei Summer. And the Rebbe Rashab said over there, where is the Bechira? Let's say he got Bechira. Okay, he got it. Where is it in your nefesh? Where do you have Bechira? Every Yisrael has Bechira. So what's the question? If you're going to say the nefesh Elokis has got Bechira, I don't know. What sort of Bechira does the nefesh Elokis have? The nefesh Elokis wants only Elokus. It never knew what it meant to want anything else. It's on him. The nefesh Elokis only drags you in the direction of Elokus and good things, and that the world is not really there, and there's nothing, there's no material, ain't no muvada. That's the way nefesh Elokis all the time talking. Your nefesh Abami is at Bechira. You mean to tell me your nefesh Abami is at Bechira? Eh? What would you say? Oh, you're dreaming around so much you don't even know. How do they say? Stop dreaming, wake up from the dream. In other words, what is the end of the Nefesh Abamis at Bechira? Nefesh Abamis knows exactly what he wants, and that's all he wants. So who's got Bechira? Where do you have Bechira? The same thing in Tanya. You find me in Tanya that you got a Nefesh Abamis and a Nefesh Elokis, and the Rebbe says that Ha'odom in Perek Yud, he said Kasher Ha'odom Magbiri elevates his Nefesh Elokis over his Nefesh Abami. So who's the Odom? Who is he? It's not the Nefesh Elokis. It's not the Nefesh Abami. Who is the Odom? And the Alter Rebbe doesn't say in Tanya who he is. He says, Adam. You got to take your Nefesh Elokis and make it strong over your Nefesh HaBahamis. Then you're abandoning. Who are you? Who's the Adam? Ve'aridon. And just in Perikov Tet, the Alter Rebbe says, if you're not careful, then the whole of the Adam is managed with the Nefesh HaBahamis Mami. You can be completely a Nefesh HaBahamis. Who's the Adam? So come to again. Certain Biurim in Siddur, and it's much been Tofrei Samach over there, and there's a man from the Friedrich Rebbe also in Toshin Aleph, I think it is. But they say that really the Seichel, where does the Bechira exist? In which a third Nefesh, there's a third little Nefesh in the middle, he's like a referee. He's the one that can pull this one over, slug this one over the other one. Who is that referee? What you call Menshish Seichel. How do you call it? Seichel Anush. Nefesh HaSichli. In other words, normal human understanding. How do you call it? Nefesh. Oh, he said, that's great. He's got a lot of it. Normal human understanding. I'll come to it. That normal human understanding, that's where you have the Bechira. That's where they've supplanted the Bechira. In the middle of your normal Batish way of understanding the world, in the middle there, the Abish have planted the ability to decide which way you're gonna go. Until that Nefesh HaSichli, which is like a little piece of Menshish Seichel, in the middle between the Nefesh HaLokis and the Nefesh HaBahamis, that's called Nefesh HaSichli. It's a Nefesh that's based just on reasoning and on Seichel. And inside that Seichel, that's where you got your Bechira. In other words, what is the turn of all events that you begin to choose? You begin to choose on a basis of a certain understanding, which is what you call normal, upright human appreciation of a matter. Once you start turning in that direction, then they used to help you even more and even more and even more, and you begin to see even more clearly, and you start going in the right direction. The Heper of what it's written, and the Rambam mentions that also. The Heper, the Ramban, the Heper of what's written, that if you want to be a late, they state the Mishlei. If you want to be a joker and a clowner and a messer around her, then the Heper says, oh, that's what you really like. Okay, I'll make you for a big joker. And therefore you see people into, joking around and late hunters, and it just gets worse. The Rambam writes in Hilchos Days, it's like a drug, he can't sort of stop it. He's always got to be joking and sticking and laughing and carrying on. It sort of catches on, and the man just can't get out of it. The other way around, if you start using your normal human seichel to judge situations properly and to say, no, I'm going to go dafki in the good way, then the Eibush is stooped in that tremendously. Pick the Zevi says the other way around. If, God forbid, you go the other way around, you can eventually reach a point where the Eibush will take it away from you. That the Eibush will say, okay, that's what you wanted, stop. And all the crazy Menshish Seichel will tell you is how sweet all the really crooked things of Olam Hazeh really are. In inverted commas, not. In fact, it follows what he said. That, on the basis of that, if we learn that way, and as there is much in the Maimon, in Toshin Aleph, that Goyim also have a Nefesh HaSichli. As there is of the Rebbe Rayat over there, that Goyim also have a Nefesh HaSichli. Over there, Nefesh HaSichli is on a lower level than the Nefesh HaSichli of a Yid. I like Seichel, and Seichel, the Goyim have got plenty of Seichel, when it comes to science and others, they got wacky Seichel. And was it enough? So the Hadikonim, the Friedrich Rebbe said, but since you've got a Nefesh HaLokis, and your Nefesh HaSichli is like in the middle, then it gets a sort of a continuous presence type awareness of a Nefesh HaLokis. it knows, after all, a different sense of what's life really all about. What does morals mean? What do good things mean? Good things don't just mean good things; they mean divine things. At the Eibshter, a goy, he just knows, proper behavior, good behavior, do his yeah. He doesn't have the presence of the divine sensitivity. But that's what the Sikh in Pasha Noah, in Chelik Tesfor, in Brazius, Chelik Tesfor, the Rebbe's Mazel over there, that's why it is that the Rambam says when it comes to the Sheva Mitzvahs B'nai Noach, that you've got to tell a goy, why does he have to keep the Sheva Mitzvahs B'nai Noach? Ki kein tziva Hashem lo'olam alidei Moshe Rabbeinu. He says, well, you have to mix in Moshe Rabbeinu with the goy. What does he know about Moshe Rabbeinu? Tell him, no, the Eibshter gave the alidei Moshe Rabbeinu. So the Rebbe says that, it would have been enough to say that's what the Eibshter said, and look it up in the Pentateuch. You find it in the Pentateuch, it's written, you got to keep the Sheva Mitzvahs B'nai. No, we have to say, alidei Moshe Rabbeinu. So the Rebbe said it's got to always be connected with a Yid. Because a Yid, his nefesh sickly is different. He senses Elokus. And therefore when he tells you, make a cheshbon, and choose according to your seichel, he knows that really means, close to the Eibshter. The way the Eibshter understands seichel, what does the Eibshter understand? That'll affect the goy also, that when you tell him about seichel, he'll chat that there's something to do with the Eibshter. That way to mention Moshe Rabbeinu. In other words, who is Moshe Rabbeinu? Moshe Rabbeinu is a mensch that he makes people realize, oh yes, even seichel, it's got to do with the Eibshter. And therefore all the going to walk past by the dollars, they just gave it, they become something different, because they realize that there's a Moshe Rabbeinu in the world, and there's just an ordinary way of living. A man stood there and gave him a bark, I got a bark, there's a good, what's that? But it's something divine, there's some higher divine Indian here, and that's how you got to think. That's how you have to think. That's what they look for. Amamela, mit will be able to answer another shaila which occurs, which everybody's been asking the shaila, and I've already been hinting at it the whole time. And that is that it's mavur in Rova Makaimis and Rova Sfarim that goyim don't have bechira. It's a common statement by Yidden. A lot of Elach Yidden will tell you, or maybe they don't exactly where the market is, but they say the goyim don't have bechira. Oh, Yidden have bechira. And from that passage in Makut Torah, that the Yidden from bechira is dependent on the Hashra of Atzmas Eitzev. Mamish, the Eibshter is the only one who has bechira. He can give you bechira. Well, it's mashma. The Alter Rebbe is saying, no, we didn't have that. I mean, goyim for sure don't have that. You remember, what's that touch that you can demand of a goy anything? You can't demand of him. You haven't done any bechira. Yeah, we just looked around to get the Rambam, and the Rambam said, no, Pari didn't choose right, and the Eibshter took away his bechira, that we couldn't do tshuva. And then the Rambam gives all these goyim tshuva. And he gives the Rambam, and he says, that's the whole problem, that the Rambam, that Pari said, Pari did, he denied his right to do tshuva, to change him. And the supporters said, that was the whole purpose of the Makris, was to make somebody do tshuva. Who? The goyim. And it, where's the touch that do tshuva? They don't have any bechira. What's going to say to him? What does the Rambam want from Pari? What's he want from Pari? Edify, for them come to us that it seems that goyim do have tshuva. It would appear that they do have tshuva. And we have to say that. We have to say that they got tshuva because you say that he's got to keep 7 mitzvahs. Shalom Aleichem, got to keep 7 mitzvahs. If he doesn't have any choice, well, it says he's got 7 mitzvahs. A mitzvah is you command somebody. If somebody can't do anything about it, you can't command him. And furthermore, you for sure can't punish him. And if a guy doesn't keep the 7 mitzvahs per year, he's chayav misa. He can just lose his whole existence, according to the Etzem Malacha. And when he tells he's punished, if he doesn't have any choice, how can you punish him? The very fact that you give him 7 mitzvahs, well, that indicates that he does have some sort of choice according. And that's the whole Rambam. Yeah, the Rambam compares it to a hoyo adam kechad mimem. To say for the Eibshter is a sign that the Rambam believed in all men. I say it's much from the story of the life of the Rambam and everything we know about him. The Rambam had a very high opinion of the human race. The Rambam had hopes for humans, not just for Yidden. He believed in the human race in general. The Rambam held that everybody's got value and everybody can be demanded high things. Oh, well, you can demand if they just can't pay the bill. What's the point of demanding it? There must be something there. And the same by the Rebbe. We see the Rebbe spoke to the governors of New York, he spoke to the cops, he spoke to all sorts of goyim and people who walked past him or came to see him in his office, and he asked them to do things. He asked them to take action in this matter and that. If a guy is just a girl, he doesn't have any bechira, klal, klal, what do you want from him? Where's your master for now? What do you demand from him? Right on. Edifying. We have to say that goyim do it. And to a certain extent, everything and everybody has got some sort of a control over its own, what you might call, goyrol, its own destiny, its own thing in life. And what could we say? We say there's different dargis, there's different levels. There was a famous sikha from the Rebbe in words, forgotten exactly where it's a sikha from the Rebbe. But the Rebbe says that what's the difference between 630 mitzvahs that you didn't get and the 7 mitzvahs B'nai Noach? Where's the difference? He said the 613 mitzvahs that you didn't get are those a gil elakus. Or that's how they do what you didn't apotel to Ratzon Hashem. Are they bring elakus into the world? Biz ein oid movad. Mashiach's coming every moment. Ein oid movad. Just be gil elakus. And going, his 7 mitzvahs are what's called seder ha'olam, good order, very good. And therefore they are commanded to have courts and to have judgments. So now you have to use a bit of the ability to control yourself like we were just talking about. Israel will come to that everybody has got some inyan in the world to keep the good order. And he's got a choice. Either he can be a destroyer of the good order of the world, the way Hashem wants it, or he can be a mekayem at it. And that's what we call the mitzvah, the 7 mitzvahs, that they must have courts and they must have powers that decide what is proper conduct and what not. And a court, by the goyim, is a whole thing. People decide what's good. If you didn't keep the laws of the country, you can be punished when they do it. That's one of the 7 mitzvahs. But I know, listen, you guys are becoming a little bit too clowny. Ask yourself to control yourselves. You're attracting the attention of the less attentive members. I don't like that. It follows that a goy has to keep mitzvahs because he is mitzvah that the world should run in an ordered and moral fashion. And after a goy does have b'chir. And we have to say that he's got emes of b'chir. A Yid, that's only small fry by a Yid's b'chira. A Yid's b'chira is, we're going to make the world a vehicle for Elikus, we're going to bring Moshiach, we're going to make the world into Ein Oid Mil, Ein Oid Mil Vade, Mamish, Papoel Mamish. We've got to keep 613 mitzvahs, which means, and all the halachas, which means wherever you move, you're bringing Elikus into the world, you're changing things. Of course, it's not like that. His Indian is to preserve good conduct, proper yoisher, uprightness, morality. Even the Ran holds in the Sekta Sanhedrin that a goy is even mechuyev to give charity. Not everybody holds that. But he does. In other words, charitable acts, good acts, kindness, all that, like the Rebbe said on numerous occasions by the dollars. And he could do good, kind acts to bring the Mashiach. Oh, that's a goy. Even more, I mean, it's an amazing thing. And we'll go to the pshat and ishpink to say, oh, well, maybe it is. And Efshe comes over, but Derech Efshe, we find certain places in the Torah that if a behemoth was involved in an avera, then you have to kill the person who did the avera and the behemoth. And Gemara says, yeah, Adam chota behema zu, my chota. What did the behema say? So the Gemara says that you have to put the behema to death. The men shouldn't come along and say, oh, you see that behema, he messed up all the people because the people got killed through him. That's not nice. Therefore you have to kill off the behema. But deep inside, maybe we could say that there's an Indian in everything that's brought into the world, that it's got to have a certain ability to, to know ad Ephel. You might say, well, who said such a thing? Who? Rashi said it in Parsha Noah, and he said it about 5 times. The Rashi said that the birds were beseder, or they weren't beseder, that they were immoral with the species, and these were immoral, and that was immoral, and that the behemoths weren't beseder. Who were beseder? The fish. The fish and the ogre were beseder. And certain other. You like fish, do you? Good for you. He said he backs the fish. And that's one of the reasons why we eat fish, Turkey. It's one of the reasons we eat fish on Shabbos, because Shabbos is a very, Baron Kalina, but he was a Goysa Tzaddik, you should realize. And Baron Kalina, he thought that if you don't have fish for Shabbos, then you should worry more than what is written in the Gemara, that you should worry the whole year if a certain thing happened to you on Yom Kippur. Yeah. Not having fish for Shabbos is a problem, according to him. That's got to do with the whole elevation of Shabbos.
Both meals or?
Huh?
Both meals or
Boring Yom Tov?
is that fish for both meals or is it enough just one meal?
Fish?
Fish for both sudas? Fish for both sudas or just one of the sudas?
Fish for Friday night and
both?
Fish for Friday night or also for Shabbos day?
Well, both. Even more. The Alter Rebbe writes in the Siddur, look it up in the Siddur. Nobody knows how that fits in with Minhag Chabad. Or the Alter Rebbe writes that the Ika Achilas Dogim B'Shabbos Hu B'Suda Shlishiyas. Look, that's it, in the Mamish in the Siddur. In the Siddur Tilas Hashem, in the Alter Rebbe Siddur, Tilas Mikol Hashana, state that the Ika Achilas Dag Hu B'Suda Shlishiyas. How does that fit in? Anyway, God settle everything in one go. But anyway, suffice it to say that the dagim were beseder. Oh, the Rashi brings over the birds weren't beseder, Danish weren't beseder. This one wasn't beseder, this one was. What's your most different birds? What's your basin? Mine, your timber club. What's your behemoths? Elamai is a symbol that there's some meaning in every created being, that it's got to have some sort of a knowledge and a sensitivity. Up to here. Beyond that we can't go. This is acceptable, this is not acceptable. Therefore, if you watch animals, they have their own rules. Beyond certain things, they won't go. And actually, I remember I was in Australia. I was 1 year. I was in Australia. And I went down to the sea in the west coast. I went down for a couple of days, right down near the sea. And there was this little river that came in from the sea at the back of the house where I was staying. Very beautiful river. And there was like these sort of ducks and swans and and there was one little duck and another one. But the whole time they always moved around together. Whatever one did, the other did. It interested me. So one day I met a guy on the bank of the river. I said to him, what sort of birds are these? Oh, he said, they're very special. He used to look after the river. I don't know exactly what he did. He was some representative of the local council. So I just think what he was. Anyway, he says to me, you should realize that those two birds, that they get married. He said they mamish have like a little ceremony where they decide that they're going to be together. And he said once they are married, they do everything together. He said if this one dips his head, the other one dips his head, whatever they do. And he said they have children, the children do the same. And he said they would never be with another bird and shoo even upon him out the world. It's not uila or da. He told me. And he said the same with these ordinary swans and these ducks. He said all of them are very moral birds. That's what he said. A bird made us So I remember that was a big limit for me. I was very, very impressed at that. I was very taken. I looked at this little pair of ducks that get me over to another Darsheret, you know. So I happened to notice that they just did everything to get it, wherever they were, whatever they were. They should know their man and wife. How's it written in the Torah? For Dovak for Ishta. You've got to cling to your wife. You've got to do whatever she does. So, I was like, fella, I don't necessarily say everything. None of it. Remember, good days. Everything's got some control over its destiny, or over its in it. So what's it in him? So we could say that everything's got control of its destiny over its particular Indian in the world. And in that, the Eibusha gives it a choice. And the Eibusha will come to a taina and a bakosha, why weren't you the way I expected you to be? And that means to say that a Yid, he's supposed to bring Elokus into the world, he's supposed to devote his life to that, he's supposed to do all the mitzvahs, and he's supposed to also prepare the world for Mashiach. Because the Alter Rebbe says that the whole world was created only for that. If a Yid's not busy with all that, the Eibusha is going to say, listen, man, where are you? What happened to the Alter Rebbe? The guy said to him, Ayecho, where are you? You know the story happened to the Alter Rebbe?
Yeah.
At the Pasik. Where are you? You don't know the story? You do know this. Everybody knows the story. The minister of the religions asked the Alter Rebbe, why did the Eibusha say to Adam Arishan, Ayecho, where are you? He knew anywhere where he was. And you have to know where you are. You have to know where you're holding. Ayecho. You have to know where you're holding. And the Alter Rebbe said that to him. And the Alter Rebbe said to him, it could be you live 62 years and you haven't asked yourself yet, where are you really holding? That was his 62nd birthday. When he came in on that day, that was his 62nd birthday. And the Rebbe brings down, the Rebbe Melech HaMashiach says, that saved the Alter Rebbe himself. Well, tight. The Alter Rebbe decided that since he was Moise Nefesh for the Torah of Baal Shem Tov, that's the highest, and he's going to just give away his neshama to the Eibusha. He's going to go back. He's going to be Moise Nefesh, and he won't have anything more to do. He'll just pass away. I just go up like the Bnei Aaron. That's what the Alter Rebbe wanted to do. All of a sudden, this guy comes in and he says, what is the period in the Pasuk? Ayecho. And all of a sudden, the Alter Rebbe says, Ayecho, you know. Well, I'm going to go up into the heavens. That's what the Eibusha wants. And it saved the Alter Rebbe. I say, state that itself, but had it gone, it doesn't kirata with the Alter Rebbe. They say in Yiddish that saved the Alter Rebbe's life. If he said, that everybody has got according to his Indian, and that's the Bechir of a Yid. His Indian is to see that there be an ordered world, and that people don't steal and harge and money in Islam, murder one of the other masters. He's got to see that go on, and that's his Bechir. In that realm, there's Bechir. And therefore the terror and all those things in the world, those people are punishable. Because they are using that koyach that are going at it to choose. They're using it mamish heipach me'arotzon shebeach. And therefore the Rebbe said the answer to the terrors of Sheva Mitzvahs b'nei Noach. That if you teach even a rabbi and all sorts of peoples, and you'll teach them the Yinif and the Sheva Mitzvahs b'nei Noach, then they'll begin to realize that they have a certain destiny in the world, and they have the ability to choose and to control the conduct of the world, the conduct of mankind. And the Rebbe said, forget that's the eminence of belief and COVID that you can give to another person, and you have to do it. And they said a goy does have bechira in that realm, and that's what the Rambam means. The Pari was told by the Eibusha time after time that you can't do that to other human beings. You constantly stem people, befrat that they happen to be the chosen people. The Eibusha treat them like that. And Pari said, Shma ba, Shma ba. And the Eibusha say, listen, from now on, I'm going to show you are going to become a puppet in my hands to show pink for care, to show you that everything is bottom, you're going to be the message for it, but not in a gishmak way. You're going to be the message, and that's the man, Shiva, so he says, Eile Bekira boy, pinked in the kishkes van Para. Bekira boy, inside him, he's going to have to realize that Yud Kei Vav Kei, that the world is L'maylam after. Which nobody really would have demanded that of him necessarily. Of if he bowed, that he gave away his Bechir, he gave away his tzid, and he was shielded from himself the whole possibility. As if he became a medium for another man. So it's like we had the name of the Baditcher in Pasha's place. The Baditcher was that sometimes a goy he gets the punishment that's due to him, but through that he becomes at least a medium that people know about the Eibush. That's exactly what happened to Para. I mean, that's an amazing Indian. So, what does the Torah mean by saying Asher Ishalalti b'Mitzrayim? I made fun and I played with Mitzrayim. The wizard is. So there's a sikha from the Rebbe. I think it's in Kofala. Maybe in Tesvav. There's a sikha from the Rebbe. But the Rebbe says that is. That we see that every now and then, in order to break this Goyim Mishugas, that the Goyim feel that they got to run after the President of America, or they got to run after who, and become completely and utterly botil to the Koich of the Goyim in the world, the powers of Goyim. So every now and then, the Eibush makes fun of the Goyim. He shows how it's all just a lot of talk. And he makes it a latzonas, in order to be marachik them min ha'avera. That's an amazing thing. That sometimes the Eibush takes the koyach of the sitra achra and makes fun out of it, that everybody should realize just what a galacta the whole thing will be. Amazing thing. And then if you look back in history, you'll find that certain inyonim happened in a way that at the end it was like it was just like a terrible talk. The whole thing. Yeah, that's how it ended up. And if you look carefully at the fall of the Nazi regime and all this type of thing, what happened to them in the end was like that. It was like a sort of a tremendous spiel that they all sort of, in a terrible sarcastic way almost, the whole thing was lost. But the Eibush spiel. But, Chas v'sholom, the Eibush wouldn't just spiel with the Sitra Achra. He does it in order that everybody should have from that just how it's not really a matzias for ein malarutzach. Run after what is your tafkid in the world and use your choice to be a good and upright person. Use your choice to be a yid. Use your choice to bring Moshiach. If you do all of that ain't a chanami. It won't be such a joke. Of a Rahman in the if you need a lot of teaching and you can't help yourself, then every now and then the Eibush makes fun of the Sitra. That's the in it. Para's already had it. He's already lost his whole ability to choice. And the Eibush says to Moshe Rabbeinu, you got to go in, Moshe, what are you going to do? Hasrei boy. You've got to warn him. Now you can only warn somebody that's still got a choice. If he doesn't have a choice, it doesn't help to warn him. And the Rebbe said that goof is part of the talk. The Moshe Rabbeinu goes and he's to a man who's had it, and the Eibush told him, so he knows that the man's had it, and he says, oh yes, this man, don't do this, do something else. That is part of the scorn and the leitzonas neged the Sitra Achra. And that has to be sometime. And don't be afraid if every now and then it becomes a right thing to say, isn't this all just ridiculous? And you have to be able to say that to yourself. You have to be able to know that it's all just a ridiculous spiel with the Sitra Achra that maybe the Eibush is playing, but that's not your in to be mishpo, mizeh klal. You've got to go with your Tariag mitzvahs, you've got to go with your Bechir HaChavshis, what Atzmas Heit Seif gave it to you, and you've got to be crazy the other way. And like he said last night at the end of his talk, Rabbi Cowan, you don't worry what other people say or what they think, that's irrelevant. And even if people laugh at you, and that's the amazing thing that I told her, it was in my room a few weeks ago. It was at Aaron, what's his name, Aaron, and he went to South Africa. I said, you're going back to South Africa, and you've been taught what it means Moshiach, you've been taught what it means Areva, you've been taught all those inyonim. Unfortunately, there's some people over there that will slightly scoff at it, even from people that you thought were going to be close to you. So what you've got to know is the first Ramor in the Shulchan Aruch. Who the Ramor is? You don't know who the Ramah is? What are you telling me? You guys know who the Ramah is? You guys are learning here and there. You know who the Ramah is. Don't tell me you don't. So the first Ramah in Orach Chaim, the very first Ramah in Orach Chaim is, the Ramah says, V'al yevoish min hamaligim. The very first, right at the beginning, where the Beis Yosef has to get up in the morning like a lion, you have to go in and out, and immediately the Ramah says, V'al yevoish min hamaligim. Well, what's it got to do with it? Silence. Somebody's in the middle of your bedroom, somebody's going to laugh at you. You go to the toilet, who's going to laugh at you? No, you've got to realize that's the basis of all you, when you say Moed Ani in the morning, you've got to know that there's going to be scorners. Maybe not in, you are right in those 4 hours, but you go out the door and you've got to be ready to be Al Yevish Min Maligim. And you know where that's written? In the Moira and the Vukim from the Rambam. If you look carefully at the people who bring the Mara Mekemish from the Rambam, they quote the Moira and the Vukim. Now the Moira and the Vukim is a Seifa with big misnagim. She shouldn't learn the Moira and the Vukim because it's all a Seichel and the Rambam this and the Rambam something else. So the more right from the beginning that the Moira and the Vukim is holy. It's the basis of all Kedusha. Chas v'sholim to say that the Rambam wrote something bad, ugly say. And the first Ramah in the whole Orach Chaim is a quote from the Moira Nevuch. And what is it? Al yevish min hamaligim. Don't listen and don't be mispulled from the scoffers and from the lachers and from the there and from the there. Because that's what didn't have been all the generations. Allah has come Achshav, that our in is Moshiach Achshav. Our in is to bring the Gula Shlema, and we've got to, like he said very correctly, the Rabbi at the end of his talk yesterday, that doesn't really matter what the others say. That is not the issue. It doesn't matter what the Lachas say, it doesn't matter what anybody says. The Ikka is the Inan's got to be Papoya. Inan's got to be Papoya. That's this whole Inyan of Boy Al Pare. Yeah, that's the whole Inyan. Yedatem, everybody will come to know, both the Yidden and a few of the Mitzrayim. They will know Yud Kei Vav Kei Lamayla Miatev. They will know that if we're going to ask what to do, then maybe we have to ask a person like the Rebbe. And that's what we see to the credit of one of the presidents, I've forgotten which one he was, that he wrote a whole cruise that there should be a day of education, and I think a whole answer. What he did, the Rebbe told him. Yeah? Whatever he's done. In other words, he at least, that's if he chapped, that an American president, if he wants to know what is the real state of the world, he has to listen up upon him, maybe even ask. He had the Moshe Rabbeinu, and he has to ask the person who's known to be the Moshe Rabbeinu. Yud Kei Vav Kei, Nish Kashem Elaki, Nish Kadu, Nish Keveveve, no Mamish Pearl, Mamish Gila Lakus Pearl. And that's ultimately speaking the task. They're going to prepare that. If you look carefully at the end of the Rambam, that's what he says. I ain't kind of mocking. Lahari Bezer. Alvameh Hashem should help us. We realize we chap that we have Bechira, and even Goyim have Bechira. We have to arise in him. And if you talk to a Goy the right way, he'll hear you, and he wants to hear you. Because he's also one. He also knows that the world's not in a good matter. He wants to hear also. And you tell him, and he'll use his Bechira. That will elevate in him the Bechira. And even if you treat the animal kingdom, right, and you moeded the whole world, then even the animals will chap what they got to do. Everything will be different. The fact when Mashiach will come, the animals will also part of it. It's written that they will lay down, to one another, know that they won't eat meat and they won't eat straw, and they're going to do it, they're going to Mars. The whole big Yeshaya always got time for the animals. He talks about all things what's going to be with the behemoths and fires and birds and everything. The whole world will just all gather together. Pick the first moment, Adam Rishon brought them all together. All the behemoths and the animals and the birds and everything, they all bowed down and they said, Nishtachavel Havaya Oiseinu, O Mekeini Hirotzen Shira, Mamish, Afazel Zayin, Papoyo, the whole world will bow down, Mamish, Oid Regem Mizeh, and the world bow down and say, Nishtachavel Hashem Alakeinu, and the Rebbe will be at our head, and he'll lead us into the base of Mikdash HaShlishi. O Mekeini Hirotzen.
Malcolm,